Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for joining our September 14th Intermediate Planning webinar. My name is Dan Bahe, and I'm one of the Precision Business Planning Specialists here at AgSolver. And during today's webinar, we're going to be going over seed treatment for sudden death syndrome within soybeans. And so we'll identify possible fields where sudden death is present within the previous years. We'll be looking at one of my own family farms fields where we're going to be needing to combat that next year. Going to select zones and work scenarios representing standard assumptions and associated costs, and then wrap up and compare ROI on zones and on whole field scenarios. And then we'll follow up with any questions anyone might have regarding that scenario. Now we'll hop into Profit Zone Manager, and I'll minimize that box. And today we're going to be working out of the Davis home field. So what we're first going to do is actually review this field from 2015 when we had soybean production on this field, and in the southwest corner here, this is where we had oats in 2015. But as you can see, majority of the acres, so along the west end rows and area north, and then areas in the middle of the field here. This is actually where we had sudden death within our soybeans in 2015. And so this year, or actually next year going into, we're selecting for soybeans that are resistant to SDS, and also we're looking at applying an additional seed treatment downstream to combat that sudden death syndrome issue. And these are areas where we have compaction along with water management problems. But we want to see on this field in particular, does the seed treatment such as Olivo, will that pay for itself? So that's a review of what 2015 looks like from profitability scale. Soybeans went 54 bushel. For us, this is on the low end. We typically field average right around 60 to 63 bushels an acre. So we did take a 7 to 10 bushel yield entire field, but we still had and produced a profit on this specific field. So what we're first going to do is we're going to model up, and we're going to copy our actual production, soybean production 2015. So we'll come up and click on the green copy scenario button, and then pull our drop down menu. So we will select actual production soybean 2015, and then we'll name this scenario 2017 soybean production. So then we're going to use the numbers within 2015 from a yield standpoint, and then we'll just tweak and adjust according to our crop budget. So 2017 soybean production, click save. So in here we're going to come in and we're going to edit the budget to represent our 2017 soybean cost. We'll have a commodity price. We'll actually bump that up to $9.50 even, just to give us a starting place. So equipment is, still going to be right around that $48 price. Seed cost, we will actually drop that. Well, actually, we'll increase that to $65. So, and this is looking at the seed costs along with all of the seed treatments that we're already doing, and we're not including the Alivo Complete. Fertilizer cost, it's going to be $53 an acre now. Herbicide, we're going to be upping our protection program to combat Roundup resistant water hemp. So we're going to have a cost at $65. Insurance, we're going to back that down to $18. Land, labor, all that, everything else is going to stay roughly the same. So we're still going to have a crop in the southwest corner. We like to call this our loadout zone. So you can see what 2017 could turn into from a planning standpoint. And I also want to mention that this is one of our larger fields that we operate. It's also one of our more non-variable fields, but this field is highly productive, and so what we're wanting to do here is push and maximize production on this field in particular, because we've already taken that acreage where there was an old building site and we took that out of production. Now we're trying to make the rest of the field as profitable as it can be. So what we're going to create another scenario. This, and we're going to base it off of our 2017 soybean production. Call this 2017 soybean production with SDS treatment. So, and then that's creating a carbon copy based off anticipated 2017 soybean production, but we're just adding the additional Levo seed treatment cost to the budget, and then we're going to increase yield by ever so slightly in terms of what we think we can get additionally out of this. So this field was the most prone and had the most sudden death within it. So that's why we're really targeting this field. And so when we've been scouting this field, so we'll come back into our budget on the 2017 soybean production with SDS treatment. Still $9. Our seed cost is going to go up $17. So now we're looking at a cost of $82 for seed treatment. So we're not going to change anything equipment-wise from a seed production treatment standpoint. So all of our other numbers are going to stay the same. But in this case, we're going to add an additional zone to represent the yield adjust. So our drawing tools pop up, and for this, we're just going to outline the basic field boundaries. Or actually, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and click on the whole field zone. And the reason why we're doing this, we're going to adjust the yield 8%. So saying by applying this, we can get an additional % bushel increase on where we have soybean production. Actually, I'm going to delete that zone and actually draw it. So our drawing tools, polygon drawing tool pops up. Come in. Place points. And then connect our last point to our first point. Then our budget comes up for the zone. Call this yield adjust again. You can see 53.25 bushel, increase it up 8%. It's recalculating where we have soybean production. And I was looking on Bayer's website this morning, and they said you can receive anywhere from a 2 to 10 bushel increase by applying. So, and this is where human in the loop comes in, and we thought in our situation for field average yield, if we can increase yield by just 4 bushel, we'd be happy, because that's originally where we wanted to see. And so once we adjust yields and create all of our scenarios, now it's time to view from a whole field scale, how does it compare. So we can come up to compare scenarios. There's a options drop down menu right beside the field name, and then we'll click on compare scenarios. And on the left hand side we'll have our 2017 soybean planting scenario, and then on the right hand side we'll have our 2017 with SDS treatment and our increase in yield. So you can see before, when we didn't include the additional seed treatment, we were at $65 seed cost compared to $82 seed cost now. You can see, we increased our overall field average yield by 4 bushel. You can see, and we increased profit per acre by about $20 an acre. Return on investment went up another about 4%. We increased our production efficiency by 3 bushels, almost 4 bushels per $1,000. Decreased our acreage opportunity ratio, along with decreased our working capital opportunity, which is a measurement of how efficient with our working capital. And then look at our break evens now. We went from having a break even price of $9.06 to now $8.78. We did have increased expenses by about $2,000, but we also made an additional $4,000 more by combating that pressure within the field. And then finally, total field profit, we took up about $25,000 to $3,000. Now we can also play this on the flip side. Say we don't see a yield increase from that seed treatment, we can come back to our zone of our yield adjust, edit budget, move that down to 0. See how that affects the performance. So you can see the loss is a little more. Granted, we're having an additional cost. But for us, we believe that we can get, and this is through validation and working with this field over multiple years, so that we can see at least a overall increased field average yield of about 4 bushel or 8% increased yield by applying that seed treatment. We'll start with this case, and then the ultimate validation will come in fall of 2017. But what's really nice on the compare scenarios page, we have a print feature where we can pull these two scenarios back up and then print that off. So that print button is up at the top here. We can either save this page to a PDF or change it to the specific printer. It's a nice one to hand out. So now I'll open the floor for any questions that anyone might have regarding this scenario. I do want to mention that after this webinar has been completed, it will be posted on our AgSolver YouTube page. So you can go back and reference how we've created this scenario and how really we're using Profit Zone Manager now in this time of the year for planning our 2017 crop plans and precision business plans. So, and if there is no more questions, I want to mention that there is my email, d@agsolver.com, or you can email our support team at support@agsolver.com. And also, there is my cell phone number, 319-238-1978. Feel free, if you have any questions, to reach out to me and set up a one-on-one training webinar to go through and work through the specific scenarios that you want to create on your own farm builds. I'd like to thank you for joining our September 14th Intermediate Planning webinar. Have a good week. Thanks.